I'm with Joel Makower, who I actually wrote about in Tree Hugger yesterday about his recent article in Mother Jones magazine, where he basically said he was waving the white flag when it came to recycling. And Joel, I was wondering if you could talk a little more about the issue of recycling and what we have to do to actually reduce the waste stream throughout the whole manufacturing process.
Well, I think the idea was not that recycling is bad, but recycling is not the first choice. And the problem is that for all of the stuff that we throw away or recycle, all the what was called municipal solid waste, for every pound of that, there's 50 pounds of waste upstream that we don't even know about, and it's what I've called the gross national trash. It sort of didn't really have a name, so I dubbed it the GNT. And that's hidden stuff. That's stuff that we don't really see in the products, and that we don't really get to know about. But that's really a much bigger amount of trash than we ever think about in our society.
So what can consumers actually do about this? How can they tell? How do they decide which companies are doing the best jobs?
Well, it's a good question. It's really hard to tell, and I don't know that there's something that consumers can do, because a lot of this is happening upstream. So, for example, if Anheuser-Busch figures out how to redesign a beer can by thinning the amount of aluminum and tapering the sides and having a smaller top in a way that doesn't reduce the volume by a drop, but saves tens of millions of pounds a year of aluminum. When you think about that from an environmental perspective, upstream mining bauxite and manufacturing aluminum, which is one of the top 5 or 6 greenhouse gas emitting industries, that's a big deal from an environmental perspective. But they're not going to put a green seal on Bush and Bud.
No, because they shouldn't be putting it in cans anyway. It should be in a returnable bottle. I mean, it's a sort of half step that saves them money in aluminum, but do you consider it green?
Well, it's that's an open question, because shipping aluminum cans takes a lot less energy than shipping bottles, which weigh a lot more. And so there's definitely some calculus. You have to figure companies, to a certain extent, are doing the things that are cheapest to ship and I mean that goes to lightest and the most efficient. Now, sometimes the most efficient is also the most polluting,
Right.
but in many cases, and aluminum happens to be one of the success stories where we're actually capturing a lot and turning it back into aluminum. But the point is that upstream from that is a tremendous amount of waste, mining waste, and energy waste and carbon intensity and all that doesn't get captured when we talk about how much we recycle versus throw into a landfill in our society.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, Larry.